while just going on YouTube. This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the debut album by rappers Paul Wall and Chamillionaire, basically known on this album as the Color Changing Click. Basically this product is called Get Your Mind Correct. and it came out in the summer of 2002. So the thing about this particular album is Paul Wall and Chamillionaire were initially kind of a group when they came on the scene back in the early 2000s. As far as what was first going to happen, they were part of the Swish the House label, which was a label that Paul Wall was a part of throughout a good portion of the 2000s. Chamillionaire was on that label for a while. I think Mike Jones, Slim Thug, some of those type folks were on there for a minor sense for a decent bit. But the pitch behind it, this was on the Texas underground type scene, definitely some good type fare. Independent album here for the most part, did pretty well. Did chart on like the hip hop R&B albums chart, not on the Billboard 200, but on that relative range of the R&B and hip hop albums. So it's a pretty good pitch for that. Pretty notable type product within the pitch. This classic kind of early 2000s Texas fare. If you do like the H-Town noise that was particularly popular 2005, 2007, some of those type years when Houston was really large, pitches like that. Songs like Still Tippin' and Back Then, Still Tippin' by Mike Jones, Back Then, and Flossin' by Mike Jones, Smooth Operator by Paul Wall, Sitting Sideways, some of those type pitches, a good aspect there. Chamillionaire was pretty popular as well around that time in the mid-2000s, but this is a pitch just because Chamillionaire doesn't have terribly many albums within those pitches. He only really has two, and then he has the two Color Changing Click albums, so I wanted to get to some more Chamillionaire as far as what's first going to happen. This is like my 8th or 9th Paul Wall album as far as what's going to happen. So now Paul Wall continues to be around. I recently saw that he was on like the White Boy Mount Rushmore of rappers as far as what's going to happen, which is definitely excellent because he needs to be on that, but it's a good type pitch here. It's really too bad that Chamillionaire never dropped the album Venom as far as this pitch can happen. Definitely was waiting for that album for a good while as far as this first album. But this, another classic here, simple enough to see. It does it with like a relative low-key kind of budget as far as this first gonna happen. I don't know if it had a single. The only real song that has over 1 million plays on Spotify is just In Love With My Money. That's a Mr. Lee beat. It's pretty good concept. Get that there. He's pretty notable, like Scarface, Devin the Dude type producer, folks like that, Slim Thug, some of those type folks. It's just within pitch as far as saying. I don't know if that was the particular buzz single, but it is pretty excellent. But yeah, this album gets a 10 out of 10. The only real song I don't recommend out of the 13 songs in this product is just the song Falsifying as far as this pitch can happen. I just look after that one. But this particular product is in the same vein as Paul Wall's Chick Magnet from 2004. Just kind of more low-key type stuff, just more pedestrian within the format of it. Also not terribly filled with like night venue songs within the pitch. It's more kind of the concept of straightening. This is very much a straightening type album within the pitch. Like the album says, get your mind correct, get fleshed out, get the product to getting back on track, having the product to diss. Not so much full bound amidst like the hustle, like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and lunch break type noise in the pitch in more blue collar type senses, but it's just kind of the product of like the after effects of like the straightening and the moments that you have to kind of get your ducks in a row within some of those type pitches. Just a lot of type moves where it's like just between songs like Game Over, Falsifying, You Owe Me, some of these type pitches, some of these type moments are just more getting kind of mapped out and getting back on track as far as those pitches can happen. Not so much like errors or mistakes, but just kind of the concept of just having to make moves that are kind of the product of just like the initial conduct of having to be kind of stone-faced pitches like that within the product. So this is a pretty ironclad type album within the pitch behind it. Definitely has the product of like just about the business as far as those pitches can happen. Just very productive within a sense. Works just like a good Hustlers makeshift. This is definitely a pretty banner type Hustlers makeshift type album, just without like a banner kind of single. That this is probably something that was all over the place in terms of the radio. I would guess it might have been In Love With My Money, but it's this kind of pitch as far as saying this has a lot of good local type noise just within that typical product. This good type fare from what you'd expect from Chamillionaire, Paul Wall, some of those type folks, but has some good pitches on here, good aspects, has a couple radio type songs within the pitch. The I Wanna Get's a pretty good song for the Chicas as far as this pitch gonna happen. I feel like there are a couple of venue songs on here like My Money Gets Jealous and Go Grind, some of those type pitches. So it has enough product on here, but just more within the orientation, just more evening bound kind of just surfing within pitches like that. But it is pretty neighborhood crawls. It's good for gas station runs, pitches like that, getting like checks mixed, some of those type of things within the aspects as far as this pitch is gonna happen. But so I look after it here. So yeah, I recommend every song out of the 13 on here. There's 4 skits, outro, and 3 skits on here, so that narrows it out of 17 songs down to 13. So minus like the only song I don't recommend, which would be Falsifying. So this particular one was just kind of more of like a brooding type one. Just the aspect of pretty much like a worse version of like a song like Play Dirty or Game Over, some of those type fares within the pitch behind it, some of those particular type ones, just more of like a business type song within the aspect behind it, but just didn't have as much affability behind it as far as those first gonna have them. It's pretty much the only type one that just was not as connecting within the full bound. Just didn't have the full bound kind of fury about it as far as this pitch gonna want. But basically this album is 10 out of 10, just to be able to say like that. It's a few immediate ones I would go for. Definitely one of the best songs on this album in terms of like the most turned up type of feel. I definitely feel like I was saying, there's not a ton of ferocity within the impact. It just like more recreational type moments for Smoke type fare. I mean, this is very much a Smoke centric type album between songs like Thinkin' Toad and some of those type ones, Ball of Talk, some of these type ones you already know. But just kind of the pitch, it just more smoking kind of in motion. Some of those type pitches, typical of like Slim Thug and like Boss Hog Outlaws, UGK, some of those type folks just wouldn't pitch. It's more kind of not more productive, but Go Grind's a nice one. It's like a glitzy and biting kind of money stack gem to kind of get here. Just some night prowling. I would definitely feel like within the aspect of a good venue, fun to be able to have here, and just a typical balance as far as those formats going to go. So a good type pitch. It's kind of the product of just a little bit more just amidst like the Friday type appeal, Thursday type appeal pitches like that. It's kind of the aspect of just like after the main type conduct of like a typical day type fare. This album is more rooted kind of between like I would say probably about 3:30 to about 10:30 within pitches like that. Is the aspect. There's a lot of night shift type ones. When you think of like Tupac and Outlaw's kind of ride out type music, and UGK back in the 90s, some of those type folks within fair just more kind of cruise runs with the aspect of this having, this not this kind of night mission, some of those type pitches of just having the product of getting some stuff done just in a more just about the business kind of hustle makeshift type sense within the pitch behind it. So hustlers makeshift within the pitch, but this Go Grind's one of those type ones that is kind of like a stack up type song, but it also has like the dance club type appeal for it, and that's a good type pitch for that. I'd say My Money Gets Jealous is another one that goes like as a pretty good combination with that. It's like an electro kind of mid-pace dance venue ambience kind of get here, real good concept for that. Just good 1-2 punch with Go Grind, like I was saying. Glitzy kind of buzz single, probably could have been a single within some of those type pitches. Definitely has some pretty electric kind of slap about it. So it's just within pitch. Now there might be like one, at least this song My Money Gets Jealous is only a Chamillionaire song within pitch, so Paul Wall is not on every single song. Them as a group, Paul Wall and Chamillionaire, is not on every single song, but I would look after within the pitch. There might be one. I mean, most of these songs there are particularly focused on. There are a few guests on here that might take the place of Paul Wall or Chamillionaire. It's kind of within the pitch behind it, but for the most part, most of these songs have them as particular like as a pair. But this is the pitch that at least My Money Gets Jealous, which is unfortunate because I would have liked Paul Wall in this particular song. That's the concept of it. I Want to Get is a nice one here. This is like around the area kind of Bella Gabs kind of get within the aspect behind it. Is talking with this kind of combo with Neighborhood Bella as far as this pitch can happen. Chica's nearby, some of that type fare. Just nice lazy Sunday kind of weekend dredge. It's like a nice lazy Sunday and kind of weekday dredge within the pitch behind it. Just kind of a long day, kind of relaxed as far as this first can happen. So just great for like the after effect. It's pretty much, if it was within the conduct, just the typical kind of conduct of just needing to let off steam, some of those type pitches, just some hollow music, just in a more lazy type format within the pitch behind it. Cold beer, something like that, just easy kind of going. Netflix nowadays, some of those type pitches, just easy kind of conduct to just after effects and like retires for those pitch kind of happens. Good type tone. Not a ton of moments like this on here either. It's not really as much of like a more pop or R&B laden type product, just filled with starlit gems as far as those pitch can happen, but it is good aspect kind of get this one here as like a good product of it. The Other Day is a quality one. This has a nice Tupac sample. I forget what it's called. I think it's Straight Ballin' from 1994. I forget what album that was particularly on, but it came out in 94. I think it was one of the movie soundtracks, but it wasn't on it. It's on the cassette version that I forget which one it is, but it's like a floaty kind of feeling right, kind of right around as far as this pitch can happen. By feeling right, I mean some smokage in your system. Definitely a good type fare for that. And it's like some extra thoughts kind of, The Other Day is like some extra thoughts kind of surface as far as those pitch kind of happen. So just kind of the product of this car rumination pitches like that. It's kind of the fare, this extra kind of conduct within pitch behind it. A deeper song, but not as super deep as like it's a deeper song, but it's not nose in a book kind of deep within the aspect as far as this pitch can happen. To think it's just, this is a deeper song, but it's not nose in a book kind of deep as far as the pitches kind of happen within the tone of just like not being social. So it's just kind of some social rumination within some of those type aspects. Good type fare for that. I'd say You Already Know is a quality one. Definitely like the concept of this one. It's like a dizzy kind of after hours night fare kind of get within the aspects of it. Definitely enjoying crunk, but alert within the concept of it. So just having probably some good drink in your system, something like that. Good type fare, just goodies, pitches like that, but just with regular prowling as far as those aspects can happen. So this is the sort of song that UGK need to do within some of those type pitches. Most of their ones were kind of more night shift or day shift kind of cruise around, but this is a good example of one that's still being tore up, but having the example of this having some extra type things kind of do with just within the fare of it, just within the pitch. So it's good type tone and kind of have some of that's not square type music within the pitch. It's not as much like a Clockwork Hustler that's only about the money, but it's just, I mean, it definitely has most of these songs within that conduct, but this is one where it kind of meets you halfway and you have like some good product, like some good, where you're enjoying the concept of it. It's not as straightforward within the pitch. A good type tone. Play Dirty is a quality one as well. It's like a pacey kind of out in the late wind, kind of bout it energy as far as those fairs going to happen. This is definitely more riled up type one. Some late shift hustle, I'd have to say. Just hella turned up within the pitch. This is a typical type one. You think of folks GZ, Pimp C, Bun B, some of those type of folks are doing a more night shift where you got to get shit done like the night fair as far as the aspect of just kind of being maybe just within a ruffle type mode. Not so much like having mistakes or pitches like that, but just the product of one of those straightening type songs I was talking about within the pitch. Just getting fleshed out, making kind of power moves and getting things in line as far as those pitches can happen within the tone behind it. So good type tone. Ball of Talk 2 is probably within that pitch. Makes me question where the original Ball of Talk 1 is from just within the pitch as far as saying, because I think this was their first product. Now they might have dropped mixtapes, not as full bound, sure. This is kind of like an independent album slash kind of street mixtape. I'd have to say it was just the pitch. Not sure where the original Ball of Talk came from. It's like a creeping kind of Texas fried late noise, kind of get within the aspects of it. Just very UGK like outings, pitches like that. Just some of their night type fare. This is like a night-wise kind of typical day within the aspects of it. So some of these songs really go within like a 1-2 punch. Like a lot of these, just I would say songs like Ball of Talk 2, Play Dirty, You Owe Me, some of these type pitches within the aspect of it as far as those particular fairs can happen. Just a good product of some of these. I'd probably say Go Grind's another nice one. That's also like a night venue song. Just in the pitch of some of those. So speaking of You Owe Me, this song gives UGK kind of night shift vibes also. It's like a Tupac like ride out, I'd have to say within the pitch. Very similar to Outlaws, Tupac, 96, some of those type songs like Hit 'Em Up, just in a more night type fare. This is like a riled and ready type tune. Definitely I'd have to say good combo with Play Dirty, like I was saying. Good type fare for that with You Owe Me. Thinking Thode is a nice one. This is another kind of drooping type one. Definitely like the aspect of this one. Pretty similar to like You Already Know, just kind of a dizzy type one, just for like some head trips in like a productive sense. Thinking Thode is like a drooping kind of neighborhood saunter to kind of get here, just razzled kind of evening. I feel like this Red Eye's definitely within the pitch. Kind of some razzled kind of evening surfing, like I'd have to say. Good pitch for that. Good for snack runs, pitches like that. Good song to map out pitches like that, figure out what's going to happen. Just kind of like a mild primer, not as much full bound like getting tore up, but just kind of pitch just like extra thoughts and in between type moments that just have like some awkward kind of moments. Not awkward in terms of quality, but just kind of extra type fare where it's not point A or point B, but just kind of like the conduit of it, just in the pitch. And throwed for people just within the pitch, getting throwed within the pitch means, obviously getting tore up within the pitch. Just for folks who don't know, it's full bound the lingo of it, but it's a good type pitch for that. And In Love with My Money is a nice one here as well. Now I don't know if I talk about this one. This is the most popular song that says almost 5 million plays on Spotify. It's a good type pitch here. It's like a vintage kind of UGK similar kind of local romp and cruise around, I'd have to say, within the pitch behind it. Just some usual errands. So it's just kind of the product of like a more local type version of something UGK would have done in 96 or 2001, some of those type fares. It's typical type noise, Cadillac type music within the pitch. It just like the good feel good hair in the wind, the good feel in the wind, kind of hair in the wind type tones within the pitch behind it. Easy kind of Popeyes type music, just stunting like a parking lot, some of that particular type fare. Just munchies and good type fare for that relative just summer surfing type aspect. It's just not as glamorous within the pitch. It's kind of like when I was talking about with the budget being lower, it's just kind of a more local kind of just it's relatively pedestrian, not in terms of quality, but just the pitch is just more pedestrian, kind of more lower key type aspect within the aspect of how that goes. But good initial type hitter from Chamillionaire and Paul Wall, some of those type pitches. Both Chamillionaire and Paul Wall can spit. Talk about that as far as lyrics. They were pretty good even back in these early days within the pitch. Chamillionaire definitely did like the mixtape Messiahs as far as those pitches kind of happen around this particular time. So he was definitely spitting pretty heavily. Like these are not ringtone rappers that are not able to do that within the pitch. Both of them have the pretty good aspects just between like what was said about them in the past. It's just good type pitch of realizing that it's not just simplistic kind of lyrics within the tones. It has good aspects here. Maybe it's not Nas, Ghostface, Killa, and folks like that, AZ, and Big L, some of those type folks, but it is pretty good. I think I talked about every other song on here. Oh yeah, there's another one, Lovin' My Life is a nice one as well. It's like a glitzy kind of cruise around, I had to say, just early 2000s kind of stunt music like the fair. Feels kind of retro, but it is a good type bop to kind of get. It definitely reminds of like a Saint Lunatics kind of hop within the pitch. It's something they would have done with like their Free City album from 2001. It's a good, nice, glamorous kind of energy. Just a little bit more electric version, like In Love with My Money, as far as this pitch can happen. Probably, even though In Love with My Money had more plays, this is probably the more glamorous type one within the pitch. It is something kind of goes in combo with some of those venue songs like I was talking about, like You Already Know, or like Go Grind and My Money Gets Jealous, some of those type pitches. It's a good type tone. I think I talked about every song on here as far as what's going to happen. Maybe I didn't talk about Game Over. That's one more type one that I didn't talk about. So Game Over is kind of an awkward but hitting kind of neighborhood late saunter to kind of get within the aspects behind it. It's kind of a straightening day within the pitch. Good song to spit flame to. So this is one of those type ones that just getting fleshed out, kind of the format of getting ducks in a row. Some of those type pitches. So just the aspect of this kind of finaglement. This kind of the aspect of this kind of it's kind of a catty type day where you just have to kind of have bass in your voice. Pitches like that. It's kind of the conduct of just getting straightened out and just having the pharaohs just like typical kind of game type product of just making power moves, pitches like that as far as what's first going to happen. Just kind of awkward type fare, just the, standard frenetics of what goes on with like, mishaps and things like that or whatever. The conduct in the overall presentation at Game Over is kind of mildly awkward, but within the pitch it is a necessary song within the pitch. So it's just kind of the product of having that particular fare, so it's a good type tune for that. But just kind of the pitch. Not every single hustle type album has that particular aspect of just like straightening type songs within the pitch behind it. Just kind of the product of just paying attention to like the loophole moments as far as this pitch can have. It was good type tone. So yeah, I look after here. This album gets a 10 out of 10 just for the pitch. Like I said, the only song I don't recommend is Falsifying. The Soja score, I'd probably give the Soja score either like a 9.5, probably like a 9.5 out of 10 actually, just for the pitch. I mean, these songs are pretty excellent, lots of good moments for like amidst like the night shift pitches like that. Definitely gives some UGK and Tupac Outlaws type vibes, like 90s type fare, just in the fashion of it. Pretty glitzy, glamorous, definitely pretty vehicle centric type bass and some good hops on here within the pitch, but it just doesn't have a ton of real frenetic kind of Friday, Saturday, Thursday type tunes within the pitch. I feel like Go Grind, My Money Gets Jealous, and Loving My Life are some good pitches behind that, but I feel like the bass behind it is just has a little bit more stone face kind of grit about it, more so than the full bound. It's just not as full bound kind of glamorous as I would have liked. I mean, it's amidst the product, I will say there's a lot of smoking songs and good songs to get tore up to within the pitch at least, but it just kind of has the product of it's just more, yeah, you're getting tore up, but still being productive within pitch. So this kind of format is not, and I'm not complaining about that because I do like the cons of having that particular aspect be in there, because some folks will not get tore up until everything's done, and then they'll have a full album of just the grind songs. But it's just the pitch as far as saying. So it's just good conduct, just the pitch. I mean, if you're productive and you're not lazy, some of those type pitches, it works pretty hand in hand with that because you have the aspect of being able to get tore up on the go, some of those type fares. But if you do get tasks done, and you are usually good with that, it's not as much of a pitch of just having something for like the product of once things are done, still having something to do once you do. So it's just more amidst like the product just being kind of in motion and getting tore up, which is not bad. So I look after it, but it's just probably needed like a single, probably needed like a little, just a few more dance venue songs. But within the pitch, excellent type for classic here, easy enough to see, just kind of an underappreciated type one, doesn't get a lot of commonplace attention, kind of an independent underground type classic within the pitch behind it. So look after here. So in terms of the future, like the unfortunate thing is Chamillionaire and Paul Wall don't rap as like a group anymore as far as this is going to happen. Chamillionaire did put out a series of mixtapes. He hasn't really dropped albums since 2007 and hasn't dropped like EPs since 2013, but he is still kind of somewhat floating around pitches like that. Paul Wall continues to drop albums. Some of those I pitched. So it's the excellent type very easy kind of banner underground kind of Texas and early 2000s classic. I say very vicious type one, just with an aspect. It does have a good conduit of being able to get tore up and being productive. It's just good type pitch for that. So it's definite 2000s classic. That this is less commonplace.